Thank you for hanging around for the lunch break. I appreciate it. I promise you this will be something. All right, let's get going here. So who am I? Chris Patterson, VP Enterprise AI Platforms and Solutions at CIBC. I'm the guy who gets to have all the fun. I get to create all the cool platforms, roll them out, try and change the bank, kicking and screaming along the way. It's a blast. So I'm here to kind of share you a few things. You know, what we've done, how we've got there, what's next, and gonna give you a bit of a glimpse into kind of the inner operations of my mind a little bit as how we do things. But I'm a bit of a mad scientist, so you've been warned, okay? Doors over there if you want to get out of here quick. All right, but again, a lot to cover. I'm going to talk about our platform in particular, some of the products that are live right now, and I promise you, you will be incredibly underwhelmed, okay? What we have right now is boring, but the stuff we got coming in the future will be quite interesting, and I'll cover that, towards the end. But along the way, right, we've captured a lot of interesting data. I think that's probably one of the more stronger points of building your own at this point is the data behind it, what insights you can glean, what you can learn from your user base. And I have a lot of data points and data insights of which I'll share. And I'll then kind of close around like what we're building in terms of our agentic sort of concepts. And that word drives me crazy, which I'll get into a little bit further along here. Okay, so like I said, underwhelming. Right? This is just, you're looking at this thinking, well, this is just ChatGPT. Exactly. That's what I wanted to make, right? We started this journey, 2 and a bit years ago? Maybe 3. I'm losing track here. And the only thing that existed back then was Copilot. And Microsoft, I'll give them credit. They were first, right? They had that integration with OpenAI. They were first to market with something. It wasn't something anyone wanted, but it was something. So they got there. We tried the pilot, we did it, we rolled it out, and folks were like, there's buttons everywhere. Like, how do I use this? If I want to generate speaking notes in PowerPoint, I got to load it up in Word. That makes no sense. And we realized at that point they were a little further ahead. They had some work to do. And so I pitched to the powers that be, just let me build something. Give me some money, right? Let me throw something together. Because I figured everyone at that point, they were just used to ChatGPT. That's all they have access to at home. Some of them were using it, and that's all they wanted. They just wanted a simple, slick, straightforward interface to start to learn, all right, how do I adapt my day job now around having access to LLMs? And so that's what we created. Very, very straightforward, nothing special at all. I've learned the hard way. Don't be creative. It's really hard. People don't like it. Be simple, be meaningful. Create stuff that's easy for folks to use. When you roll out a tool like this to 50,000 people, I don't want to be help desk. I found our earlier designs were not good. People kept calling me. I'm like, all right, got to fix it. Make it easy, right? And that's all this is, right? It's a simple democratized access to language models. The whole intent was to raise our overall fluency. A lot of folks had no idea, honestly, what this tech could do for them, how it would work, how they could change their jobs, change the sort of tasks that they accomplish. And this was just our simple starting point, as it were. And then we've been, over the last couple of years, we've been advancing it, adding more capabilities. So you can drag and drop files, drag and drop emails, things like that. We've also started connecting it to systems, right? Like the models have advanced, and now tool calling is a thing, right? So we thought, all right, let's connect it to Jira. Right? We have thousands of developers, we have thousands of Scrum teams, and all of a sudden, we see a shift. Folks are now generating sprint plans, they're doing user story generation, they have business sessions, they record it, they take the transcript, they drop it in here and say, generate me all the user stories. Why are we monkey punching anymore? We can actually have just some meaningful conversations around what we want as a feature set and immediately get the outputs that we want right into the systems, not again, rekeying anymore. That was a pretty critical sort of drive forward. And again, earlier models couldn't do this. But the tech is advancing at such a pace that I can't even keep up with what's not possible anymore. And so, again, we further tune this. It can generate text, diagrams, HTML code, all the usual stuff. Nothing special there. But we've started to advance it further with, let's call it, more sub-products. So my job, again, is to go out, work with all the various stakeholders, talk to the various business partners that we have, and look for common patterns. What are things that stand out? Number one, I have endless policy procedure. It's all very special. It's my policy. It's my procedure, right? I need a chatbot on that data. I've heard that story 100 times over. And so we just built a generic chatbot on data. You just point it at SharePoint, it goes and indexes everything, and voila, 30 seconds later, you can chat about your special data. You can share that with all of the colleagues in that department. Huge hit. People love that thing. And you can see, like, it cites everything. You got good, clear answers to your data points. And then folks started doing things that I don't like. Someone indexed their entire inbox, and it's not really what it was for, but here we are. This is the problem when you write products and don't put gates everywhere. Folks will misuse it, or they'll use it in a way that they think is all right. But anyway, whatever. It is what it is. They at least, hopefully, they're getting some value from that. Although, to be fair, I do look at the data, and when I see stuff like that, I say, just install Copilot. Let them bear that cost. I do try and balance costs as much as I can here. Note taker, again, common thing. This is one thing Copilot, hands down, beats me every day of the week, right? Like that integration with Teams, if you are a Teams shop, being able to click the button, get meeting notes, summaries, action items. That is the one most popular feature. And I've been struggling to compete with that, I gotta be honest. That being said, there's a bit of a privacy angle with that. We can't roll that out to, say, frontline because of the fact it creates recordings. We take our data sensitivity quite serious. We have privacy offices and all of that sort of stuff. So, we don't like recordings. Those become artifacts. It doesn't really work for us. But so how do we service those departments? Well, we've created a bot. You probably see these now when you join Zoom calls, you join externals, like so-and-so's note taker. We can't buy that, right? We can't ship our audio data outside of our secure walls, so we built one ourselves. And we don't record anything anymore. It's all auto-transcribed on the fly. It fits nicely with all of our secure framework, and we're looking at how we can roll that out to not only internal meetings, but even in the external sense as well. So again, looking very common purpose, generic, big impact. I don't do small, simple, nonsense use cases. I'm all about, I want to drive change across 50,000 people. Go big or go home. Agents. Oh, I hate this word. This word is misused in this industry right now. ChatGPT launched what they called, custom GPT way back in the day. It's just a prompt, right? Nothing special. So we created something similar called custom recipe. I thought that makes sense, right? Like you're teaching AI step by step how to do something. No one used it. They didn't like the word. It just didn't work. We had like 50 people log in. I'm like, what the hell? This is just not landing. I just renamed it to agents. All of a sudden, I got 40,000 bloody agents. That's marketing. I have to learn a lot in this job. I used to be tech. This is not my normal stuff, but I'm learning as we go, using AI to help me along the way. But nonetheless, so agents, even though it's not an agent, I hate to call it that. It's really just a more complicated prompt that really replicates some sort of task that people do repeatedly. That's it. We just create a very simple interface. We allow folks to start to automate some parts of their day through this. We created a marketplace behind it, because guess what? We have 1,000 people the same role. Wouldn't it be nice if you've discovered how to change your day-to-day around this task? Share it with the rest, right? This is how we really democratize access and, again, scale upwards. I'm a team of like 15. There's only so much I can do. I'm out here just creating stuff, hoping people use it and adopt it, and I'm just trying to create stuff to help drive that fluency up across the board. And so that's really been transformative, and we've got 40-odd thousand of these things now running, with about 1,000 sitting in the marketplace with people subscribing to them. It's again, really taken off. Hate the fact I had to change the name to Agent, but it is what it is. All right, so what does adoption look like? So this is about a year's worth of data points, right? And you can see we launched this big bang. We announced this in the press. Huge announcement, CIBC launching AI for everybody, blah, blah, blah. And it required every single employee to take a mandatory training course. And I like to point out, we have got 50,000 people who have taken a mandatory training course. We can't even get, sorry, that's an optional one, I take it back, an optional training course to get access to a product. And my joke, actually, I spoiled it, but is we can't even get 50,000 people to take the mandatory training. So I'm quite happy with the fact that the demand for a tool like this was so high that folks actually opted in to training to kind of get access to it. But you can see, straight line, straight up, and I've been pretty well baseline now on around 20,000, give or take, per day. So a lot of folks come here, a lot of folks use it, and look at the cost, right? You'll notice, I had the same question earlier today. It's like, whoa, I don't like that trend where it's going down, token consumption. I don't care. What does a token consumption actually mean? Like, look, my adoption's strong. People are logging in. They're getting value done here. The only thing that consumption relates to is cost. So guess what? There's been some interesting news articles recently, like people with these leaderboards. I think Amazon had to take down their leaderboard because people were gaming it. The last thing I want are people dumping in like a 1,000-page legal agreement and saying, summarize, 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 so I can show up at the top of a leaderboard. That's nonsense. There's no value there. So I don't publish any of this stuff to my users. None of it. I share with managers because they want to know, like, all right, from my employee base, what's it looking like? Who's using it, who's not, so they can have more targeted conversations. Look at their experts. Have a chat with them, see what they've done, because maybe they can teach the rest. But I do not share big leaderboard stats with my users, ever, because I know exactly what they'll do. They'll do what I do. I'll game it. Of course I want to be number one, even though number one means nothing, right? So again, it's very tricky business trying to manage all of this data and not share it too broadly. But again, from a cost perspective, and these are just language model costs, but practically trivial at the scale that we're operating under, right? Like we're doing upwards of 50 billion tokens per month now, but cost-wise, quite reasonable, I gotta be honest. And then, again, like models are getting better. Claude are out there now, they cost more. I still haven't changed my default model from GPT 4.1 because it's just really cheap. Users haven't complained. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to leave it there. But nonetheless, for folks who do want to use the advanced models, we've rolled out Claude. We've got Sonnet, Opus, and well, hopefully Fable at some point. I'm looking forward to trying that one out once it becomes available. But nonetheless, I mean, again, pretty pleased with what I'm seeing there in terms of data. All right. I like the slide, data insights. So what have I learned so far with all of this information? I got 2 years of data. And I think this is a unique data set that not many companies have. And so I can tell you exactly how unproductive Fridays are, as an example, because I can see that in my chart, right? Every single Friday, 10% dip, right? Mondays, not so productive either. Thursdays, the most productive day. I know exactly what hour of the day is the most productive. I know when people take a nap. I know it all. You'd be surprised how much information and intel is buried inside of all of this sort of information. A lot of people work weekends. I'm not, that's a choice. Maybe they're not productive Friday, they work a little bit on the weekend, who knows? Nonetheless, quite interesting. Now, again, I don't do the leaderboards in the sense of like max spend, max tokens, blah, blah, blah. That's meaningless, as I was saying. So what we've done is we've created a more intelligent calculation off the back of all of that data, and I've started bucketing people into fluency. And so fluency is, I don't share my methodology. I refuse. I won't even tell Harry, the CEO. He asked me once, I'm like, nope, not telling you, because you'll game it, right? Like, I've found a formula that works, and it's quite accurate. I've tested it, I've pressure tested this, and it's been running for about a year now. And so I bucket folks, and oh man, people don't like it when they find out they're a novice. They think, ooh, no, this isn't working for me. I want to start using the tool more. How do I advance, right? And so it's interesting. Like, there's a little degree of gamification here for sure, but I can measure this data set over time. I know exactly how long it takes the average person to go from novice to expert. I know what levers to pull. We do endless training. Honestly, the people change management around all of this is the hardest part. And so we have a whole suite of different ways of doing training, education, workshops, discovery sessions, the works. I can then trace that back to my data to see what's had impact. So I can, I should scale this type of session up more because it seems to be driving it. It's a really interesting game to look at this sort of data and derive some ways of changing those levers, as it were. One of our more impactful ones, though, is we've taken those experts and we've created a whole change champion network around it. Meaning we've pulled them out of all the various departments. We've created a monthly cadence with them to kind of showcase what's up and coming with the product. We give them access to beta features before it's available to everybody else. So there's a little bit of incentive to get there as well. We also want to train the trainer, as it were. Again, with 50,000, scale matters. So we also give them tools to help teach. Find the folks who have that aptitude, as it were, to try and, again, drive up that adoption, drive up that fluency. And it's really started to have impact. Again, we're really seeing that drive of efficiency. More, some of the roles are, more impacted than others. But again, with that data set, it's quite interesting. The joke about the Fridays is not really a joke. It's true, I can tell you. But I can also tell you what roles adopt it faster than others, right? BAs, PMs, QAs, like all of these different common roles across the organization. I know what departments, where the hotspots are. I know exactly where to pinpoint. And so I have a smaller team, and I need to focus them where they can be impactful. I want to know from the data what areas I should be sending them out to, like should it be finance? Should it be corporate banking, investment banking, what have you, right? Because every group will have slightly different needs, and I'm not interested in the folks who don't want to touch the product. That's a choice. That's fine. But don't waste my time. And I don't do surveys, all that stuff, because people lie all the time. You'd be like, I used to do surveys. I'm like, nah, it's all nonsense. People, again, it's just human nature. It is what it is. But the great part about all of this is how that with that drive of fluency moving up, it's finally had the impact where departments can start to think about how do they reshape what they do from a workday perspective, right? Like using this technology, we can start to now create more bespoke product to really drive that deeper level of efficiency off the back of maybe a few tweaks here and there with the product, or maybe we have to create something completely net new, right? Like on the advisor side, they don't, they use our tool a little bit, but they need something a little bit more specialized, connected to the client, right? And so at least now they're familiar with how this thing works, and we have a whole roadmap of tooling specifically for advisor portfolio to really change how they get stuff done. All right, here's some fun stuff. Okay, so Claude, I gotta be honest, these guys showed up out of nowhere. And really, again, clearly marketing hype behind everything. They know what they're doing, right? Like their IPO is gonna be something. Honestly, the fact that they've been able to catch up with OpenAI in such a short term has been a marvel to witness, because they've solved the problem on how to monetize their model. Right? OpenAI, they've been charging the API access, and you can only make so much money doing that, right? Like you can keep ticking up the costs and input-output tokens going up and blah, blah, blah. But that's, again, variable, right? Like go back to my token chart, right? Like it swings up and down. It just depends on what work we're doing. You won't IPO well when you have a variable run rate, right? Everyone, all the investors, they want ARR. What's your average annual recurring revenue? That's per seat licensing. This is why Salesforce always do well. Microsoft with their Copilots, they're all selling it per seat. Until things like GitHub Copilot, right, where they've actually had to switch to consumption-based, because guess what? They're losing money. So when the developers start to actually use it to a point where they exceed the $30 per month, then they got to flip. And so like at some point, Copilot will have the same problem. But nonetheless, they're making a ton of money. But Claude, as I was saying, they've created Claude Cowork, and ooh, wow, that got some people excited. I remember I got a call from our investment bankers saying they've discovered this thing, and it's like our tool's called Kai, and they're like, Kai is dead to me now. This Claude Cowork, I need it, I've got to have it. It's new and shiny. I'm going to pay for it, get it in here. And I deal with this every day. It's awful. Like seriously, these vendors, man, they kill me. I know there's probably vendors in the room, but you're all right. Anyway, it's there's always something new and shiny. Right? This tech has made it easier to create new and shiny. But these guys, I'm telling you, they have created something cool. Their model's great, their product is great. Well, guess what? Most of the work, 99.9%, is sitting inside the model. I've got access to their model. I just created my own little wrapper around it and called it Agentic, and we've spun up our own version of that sort of ecosystem. And we did this within a month. I even cheated. I just downloaded all their architecture diagrams, documents, and I just pointed Claude at it and said, hey, build this for me. Happily did it. I'm slightly exaggerating, but not really. You'll notice, actually, I saw an article today. They're putting in safeguards into Fable and others to stop you from using their model to build AI. I think that's an interesting trend, because I was thinking, how come they're not stopping me from doing this? But I think they've caught wind. Maybe they learned from me. Who knows? I should shut up. Anyway, but this tool has really, like, I think the last panel was from, what was it, production or pilot to production. I'm loath to use the word pilot. I go straight to prod with stuff. I want to learn from real users. I don't want to do pilots. This is in prod. This is live. I want to see what happens, what can go wrong. Who knows? We're going to find out, right? But at the end of the day, the demand for change is insatiable, and the tech is there. So I have users now, not many. We're keeping it quite tight, because honestly, I have no idea what this is going to cost. But we're doing some tests to see how this thing hangs together. But it is interesting. I didn't want to go there yet. Hold on. The one data point I want to share, though, it's almost like having a team of 50 people. And it's a little scary, right? Because A, not everyone can be a manager, so I'm not going to roll this out to everybody, because there's a lot of people who don't even know what to do with a team of 50. But for those that do, you can do some serious research and intelligence gathering with this. It's just a loop. You just point the AI at stuff and say, go, and it just happily goes. It doesn't care. It's going to keep costing money. It's probably Anthropic incentivize it to keep going. We have to put our own safeguards in here. But I was doing some experiments with it, and one of them was oil research. So I had to do province by province analysis, because given where oil is these days, I wanted to actually see, all right, what happens if oil stays above 100? Who wins? Who loses? Obviously, Alberta. Woo! They love it. Ontario, not so much. We're net consumers. So, it was interesting to see the analysis that it did. Built me a lot of beautiful Excels, PowerPoints, Word documents. And I thought, this is great. I have no idea what any of this stuff means. I'm not an oil guy. What do I know? But I was presenting it anyway, because why not? This is what I do. And I was at the risk group, and I was showing them this stuff. And one of the risk guys, he said, hey, actually, you know what? We're actually doing some of this research. Do you mind sharing that intel? And so I sent it all to him. And then he came back to me and said, actually, can you drill in a bit more with Ontario? And so I ran it. An hour later, I sent him a whole bunch of new stuff. And he said, oh, OK, not bad, not bad. Can you do Quebec and BC? And so I ran some more stuff. An hour later, I shipped him a whole bunch of documents. He's like, OK, stop. Too much. I can't consume this stuff. You're giving me too much information. Just leave me alone now. 2 weeks later, he came back to me and said, this is awesome. Thank you. It saved me a ton of time. And he has been sharing it with other colleagues. So, moral of the story, if there is one here, thankfully, all that work we did that I can't verify at least was accurate, because a human in the loop, eventually, a little bit later down the track there, did actually go through and verify it all. So Claude, I'm loath to admit, they know what they're doing. They've got a product. They're creating a whole consultancy arm. They're working closely with Goldman's and other banks to create products, suites, plugins into their Claude code. They're going to be after me in about 6 months when they've got that into production, I'm certain. All right, so why am I building this thing in between, though? Everyone's talking about agents. I know, someone wants to take pictures. I'll stop flipping back and forth. Okay, the agentic stuff, right? I hate this word. I hate it. Everyone's thinking, I want to get all these agents up and running. And I say, OK, great. What do you want this agent to do? I don't know. I have no idea. I just want an agent. I need it up and running. I need it up in prod. This is the future, right? And like, no, it's not. This is not where we are. This whole journey we've been taking has been extremely deliberate. All of the data I have been collecting over the last 2 years has become training data for the agents of the future, because no one knows what these stupid things should do. You've got all of these random researcher agents or just generic stuff that don't actually produce much value. But the value is when you take another year's worth of how have people use an agent loop, turn that into a skill library, turn that into a plugin, and guess what? I'm going to put scheduler on this so I can say, hey, actually, every night, start scheduling and doing all that oil research for me, keep me up to date. It's getting us used to the fact that now I've got AI doing things for me without me necessarily deriving it and directing it. And so I'm training the users. I'm bringing the employee base with me along this journey to get here, because I want to have a suite of gateways where I can have agents running securely, governed, observability, traceability, security, all of these fun things that I don't want to build, but need to, right? As a bank, as a regulated industry, I have to build all this stuff. It's going to take me a while. And so I'm trying to keep that demand satiated with the other tool, right? Because at least people can start getting used to this concept, and then, give me about a year, we'll have all this stuff up and running. Voila, right? That's your agentic stuff. I'm going to even know what agents to build. That's the trick here, right? The one thing I want you guys to take away is data is gold. Like, again, when you buy like a vendor product, like your Copilot or whatever, they don't give you much. They just say, hey, the last time they logged in was this. What are you going to do with that, right? Like, that's not terribly helpful. They don't provide the deep level of intelligence about what, why, how, where, when, all of it, right? So there is some degree of value in build. And that's one of the reasons why like I'm very vested in creating. I love AI. I'm a developer, right? I love great stuff. You'll have a hell of a time selling me anything. So if you're, again, vendor, don't bother. Just being honest. All right, so a couple challenges, lessons learned. Number one challenge, my God, the vendor competition's killing me, okay? Everyone's after me, and they're not going after me. They've learned, like, don't bother. Go around him. He's in the way, right? So they go right to the business, and look, some products are actually really good. I gotta be honest. I can't do everything. I'm one guy, right? But nonetheless, you know, the large companies of the world, they are investing hundreds of billions of dollars in infrastructure, capability, software. They will want that return. Their investors are demanding that return. We're already starting to see the challenges on some stock prices around this. You know, SaaS apocalypse and all of that sort of stuff, right? They will continue to invest, and it's hard to keep up. I gotta be honest. It's a losing game in the long run. But even if you know, this becomes a leverage point for getting a good price, I think I won. Integration, though, oh my God. You know what? The one data point that drives me the most crazy is that I was making fun of Copilot all along, right? Well, guess what? People, when they get to expert level in Kai, they graduate out and buy Copilot. Oh my God, does that ever wind me up? I can't tell you, right? Because then they leave my product and go pay the $30 a month for the other one. But it's because they want AI where they are. They get tired of copying and pasting. Hey, I get it. It makes sense, right? Like, who wants to take their Word document, drop into another tool to get it to do the revisions, and then go back and copy and paste? I would rather just do it where I'm at. I understand, and that's hard. I'm not going to invent and create all of those plugins to each one of those Office products. It's hopeless. And then, you know, I don't need to either, right? Like, with the whole world towards Agentic, eventually all these things will just create themselves. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. I really underestimated the whole people change management aspect of this job. I just rolled this tool out and thought everyone would figure it out. No, not at all. I spend most of my time up here, talking to folks, sharing what we're doing, explaining how this stuff works, workshopping, teaching people how to prompt. I was with a whole bunch of our vice chairs just the other day, and they were like, you know, we have Copilot, we don't know how to use it. Well, you guys don't produce anything. That's why. I mean, I had to like, anyway. You guys consume. You need different tools, right? Anyway, they didn't like that, but it is what it is. I don't hold back. But we're creating something special for them actually to help them consume faster. Anyway, but nonetheless, it's a nightmare. Honestly, like the people don't want to change. I can tell. I see the same patterns across all of the data points. I got 10% here and 20% there. Like. It's the same chart every single place. And again, one other lesson you guys can all learn, the delta between people who really have embedded and used AI in their day-to-day versus the person who doesn't, that's starting to become noticed, right? And I'm not saying, you know, hey, AI's here to replace you guys. That's not my goal. That's not my vision. I don't want to be the bad guy. I'm trying not to be the bad guy. But, you know, we'll see where this goes. Nonetheless, managers are starting to notice that delta, right? You imagine when you give them that 2.0 product, when they can start really automating, if people who don't even get in bed there, well, you're gonna be left behind, okay? Don't ignore this stuff. I think the same group up here on stage said it. I'll reinforce it. This is here, it's now. You've got it, well, I mean, you're in the room. You know what's going on, okay? All right, I think I'm gonna close on one last slide. I've got hopefully a minute left. Whatever, really powerful. 50 experts, blah, blah, blah. You guys get it. I think I've talked enough. I want to at least leave a couple minutes for questions before I go. So honestly, this stuff is awesome. I love it. I love this job. It's hard as hell. But I get to be up here talking to folks like you. So how about we pause at this point, and I'll take a question or two and see what happens. I've dumbfounded everyone. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see a hand over there. OK, go. I told you guys this would be something. I hope it was something.
Hi, it's Rishi here from Rogers. Coming back to your AI fluency calculation, does it rate the quality of a prompt which user is actually punching into the system and then puts them into bucket, or there's more to it?
There's definitely more to it. What I will share is I look at the depth of their use. So it covers things like frequency, covers depth of conversation, right? Like, are they just coming in, summarizing email, leaving, right? Like that, I can see how deep they go. I can see how often they go. I can see what features they use, because that demonstrates like, they've moved on to this type of thing. Have they created agents? Are they using them? Like, I'm trying not to give away my sort of secret sauce here, but at the end of the day, it's really just tracking not only depth of use, but variety of use as well. And what I found from that is there's a couple markers in there, which when you actually go and speak with these folks, you can tell the difference. I'm not allowed, I wish I was. I'm not allowed to see people's prompts, okay? Otherwise, I would just be in there forever, like, what are you talking about? No, it would just, like, they've locked me out of that. It drives me crazy, but it is what it is. We have to keep it all secure. It is what it is. Do I guys have one more, or are we all out of time? All done. All right, thank you so much for having me. Have a great lunch.